So if you're here, literally nothing has changed since yesterday. So if you just happen to oversleep an entire day, you went into hibernation, literally nothing has changed except the Red Sox have clinched a playoff berth. That's it. That's all you missed if you missed today, right? The Yankees won 8-4 today against the Orioles. Big win, by the way. Trevor Rogers absolutely shoved against them last time. Well, the Yankees shoved him right back this time. Stanton got going, and we've talked about it, Gary. His numbers in September leave a lot to be desired, but he always seems to get things going in October. And you look up, it's September 26th, so maybe this is his way of getting ready for October. But the Yankees won that game, and then the Rays got off to a 2-1 lead, and they blew it, and they ended up losing 4-2. So nothing changed at all. That's the show. No, I'm kidding. But tomorrow is another day. We're going to talk about the game a little bit. We will be honest here. There's really not a lot to talk about. Nothing happened, unfortunately. There's just fewer games than there were yesterday. So now, instead of 3 games, there's 2 games. There's 2 more games. You have tomorrow, you got Cam Schlittler on the mound against Tomoyuki Sugano. Okay? I think the Yankees are in great position because they won one of the games that I thought was going to be very difficult. I thought tonight would be difficult. I thought they'd win, but Trevor Rogers is a good pitcher. Kyle Bradish also gave the Yankees fits the last time. So if they can keep doing this thing where they beat up on the pitchers that beat up on them, that would be nice. So that's who they have on Sunday. On the other side of things, looking at that Tampa-Toronto series, basically, if the Yankees win out and the Blue Jays win out, nothing changes. The Blue Jays win the AL East on a tiebreaker. However, if the Blue Jays lose any games and the Yankees win out, the Yankees win. And they don't need a tiebreaker, obviously. They wouldn't have it, so they would win outright. They have to finish with one more game ahead of the Blue Jays. So, that said, the Rays tomorrow are sending Joe Boyle onto the mound against Trey Yesevich, who is one of the more exciting young arms in baseball. And don't love that game. And then final game of the year, Ian Seymour, who's pitched very well in 53 and 2/3 innings. He's struck it out 57. He's going to be going, the left-hander will be going for Tampa, and Toronto is undecided. So, Gary, it's going to come down to the wire here. I don't believe that Tampa is going to win tomorrow. I just don't. I think it's going to come down to Sunday, unfortunately.
Yeah, as Girardi would say, it's not what you want.
Nope.
But if there's something to rely on, you said one of the young up-and-coming arms, that's going to matter. It's going to be a factor. Could he dominate? Sure. Absolutely, He has the talent to do it. But at the same time, there's a drawback to throwing young players in big games. And I think Toronto knows these are playoff games. For us, they're playoff games. And it's no surprise the Yankees are coming ready to play. I mean, other than the squeeze that you saw today from Anthony Volpe, that made no sense. But other than that, you can tell the team is now getting up for these games. You can see the feel at Yankee Stadium. But having said all that, really the pressure is still going to be on Toronto right now. Toronto knows if they lose a game, the Yankees very well could ride this momentum to a title in the AL East. The Yankees are the team that's hot, not Toronto. There's really not another team in baseball winning at the clip the Yankees are. And you can mention the strength of schedule, all that's fine. But when there's only 2 games left in the season, that momentum could carry you into October. And I think Toronto knows if we end up in the wild card, we're going home. And maybe the Yankees feel the same way as far as their World Series hopes. It's a difficult road to go through the wild card. There's a lot at stake in these 2 games. You have to look at them like it's October baseball already. So thankfully, those September numbers from Giancarlo, for whatever reason, just didn't matter yesterday, didn't matter today. I thought Michael Kay brought it up best. He's just one day he looks like one of the worst hitters you've seen, and he'll just flip the switch. He's on balance. He's hitting the ball just absolute rockets. You saw that today. Aaron Judge, people were asking in super chats or not saying, where in the world is Aaron Judge in the most important games of the year? Well, there he is. Aaron Judge hit his 52nd home run. I think he tied, I think it was Stanton who tied Yastrzemski, which is pretty impressive. But at this point, I wanted to discuss Will Warren, right? Because we watched that outing and we've talked about who he is. He's bad on the road. He's good at home. And we've described these as playoff feeling games. They're not exactly playoff games, but close enough. Well, Will Warren, in my opinion, was highly mediocre today. And I think that's almost an insult to the word mediocre. He was bad. He was not good. And I'll tell you what, I saw he won. He received the win today, his 9th win of the season. Not sure that that's deserved. It was 5 innings of work. He almost surrendered a run an inning, and we still found a way to win this game. Credit to our offense. They showed up to play today, and I texted you, Jake, and said that would be Will Warren's last start of the year. That includes postseason, includes regular, any of it. He shouldn't start another game, and you agreed. How do you feel on Will Warren? I know we're both high on him long term, but do you still throw him in the bullpen for the postseason and hope that maybe they get themselves in a situation they could use him?
Yeah, I mean, I'll be honest. I like Will Warren, but I want him nowhere near starting a game in the postseason. No chance, right? Because the thing Will Warren puts you in position is where, like, obviously you can strike guys out. We know that. But those home runs, man, that can't happen. That happened at home today. So what's going to happen if he's on the road, right? So, yeah, the home runs, it was bad. Will Warren was pitching perfectly fine until he gave up that 3-run shot. And I remember we were texting each other, going back and forth on Tampa and what have you, and following along. And you're like, you got to be kidding me. Like, this can't happen, because now all the momentum that you had, like, now that's lost. And now it's tilted towards a team that has nothing to lose and everything to gain.
And it put Boone in a situation, by the way, where he turned this into a relay race. You went from Warren to Leiter Jr., which bringing Leiter Jr. out there, I thought was a choice. Quite the choice. Yeah. Then you go to Hill, and Hill did a superb job. Comes in, bases loaded, gets out of the jam. I mean, that's what we were asking for in the World Series last year, but I'll digress. Hill comes out, does a beautiful job, goes clean the next 2 outs of the following inning. They pull him, which, again, was quite the choice, and they bring in Cruz, who was wild right out the gate.
Yeah.
And Doval, Bednar, and you mentioned Doval and how good he looked today. Guys, when you hand the ball to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 different arms, you're bound for one of them to crap the sheets. Can it work? Absolutely. We've seen bullpen games work against us where 6 or 7 guys pitch, but if one thing goes wrong, the whole outing is ruined. So that's the value in Will Warren having done his job to start this race, because if he had done that, we can probably protect 2 or 3 of these names that you saw pitch today, and we could really utilize them those final 2 games of the year. We essentially were forced to throw Bednar in this game. I don't know what you thought about using Bednar up 4. Personally, I thought it was the right choice. You cannot afford to risk any game. What did you think about that choice?
Yeah, I mean, it's a must-win game. We've seen... See, if the Yankees weren't privy to the information they received from losing to that Marlins team earlier in the year, I think it's completely changed Boone. Like, that's why we've seen Bednar. This is not the first time we've seen a 4 or 5 run lead, right?
Yeah.
We've seen it. Teams can come back, so...
Shows you the desperation, right? How much we need these games. You're bringing your closer up 4. It tells you the times.
No, exactly. And also, it's going to get harder for the Yankees, guys. They're on a 6-game win streak right now. There's more pressure mounting, right? It's almost, if they aren't, like, say, if we knew ahead of time that Toronto was just going to win out, I would want the Yankees to lose one of these games. Just drop one of them, take the pressure off you. You know what I mean? That's only if we knew ahead of time that Toronto was going to win out and you couldn't improve. Does that make sense, Gary? Because I do feel like carrying that win streak into the playoffs, people will say, yeah, they're hot. You can be hot and lose a win streak and be like 8 of your last 9, 9 of your last 10. But I feel like holding that streak does tend to kind of like linger a little bit. It's no different than a hitting streak, in my opinion.
I'm not worried about that per se. What I am worried about is the utilization of players. So here's what I mean by that. If you look at the way we're going to manage these games, right? If Toronto wins today, which they did, and we win, well, we burnt Bednar only because we saw this as an absolute must win, right? We took Warren off the mound because we're saying, okay, we've got to win this game. We pitched 6 guys. All right, great. Tomorrow, our mentality is must win. Again, there's going to be no hesitation to go to the bullpen again. So even if the Yankees win each of these next 3 games, now it's 2, the Yankees are probably going to burn their bullpen in order to do that, and Toronto can still win the title just by simply winning their 2 games left. So if you're sitting there and Toronto wins those games and so do you, well, you just essentially redlined to get to that point and it still was short. Now you walk into a wild card series and your bullpen's been working hard all week. It's still something worth doing. You have to put all pressure on Toronto. It's just something that you've earned by losing in June and July. But there's something to be said for the fact that the Yankees have to burn out to try and get this title, because if you fall short, now you're short in terms of health.
Yeah, no, absolutely. By the way, runners in scoring position. Remember we said quality over quantity.
Yeah,
2 for 5. We'll take it.
Nice little 400 piece. That'll play.
Yeah, absolutely. There's nothing wrong there.
Yeah, and Matthew, really appreciate the 10. Thank you for supporting the channel. Said, not going to lie, I like where we are heading into the playoffs. That being said, the Judge Dumper comparison is showing me how many experts go by narrative instead of stats. Disappointing. Guys, MVP for the most part is predicated on narrative. For the most part. If there's not really a narrative defined, then yeah, you're going to have to start diving into the numbers. But guys, you lead off for a team who wins 106 games, and are you technically the most valuable player? Dustin Pedroia? No. But it's narrative based. We've seen players with superior numbers going 2nd, 3rd, or even 4th place in the MVP, and there's not really an explanation for it other than narrative. So this has always been a problem in baseball. It's been a problem in leagues around the world. And unfortunately for Aaron Judge, he may be the victim for a second time, and we don't want to see that. So the good news here is that Aaron Judge is hitting homers. He's not going to finish at 50 homers as compared to 60. But if Aaron Judge can maybe hit a couple homers till the end of the season, you're looking at 53, 54, hell, maybe even 55 homers. Maybe you can say, hey, the home runs are close enough where I'm going to give him the MVP. Guys, we think Aaron Judge is the MVP. There's not really an argument if you pay attention to any stat. But yeah, as Matthew brings up, Jake, the narrative is strong with this one.
It is. It's very strong. And, I think people, the thing that's funny is they'll bring up all these, and I don't think I've ever seen an argument like this, where they bring up all these metrics to show you, well, Cal Raleigh isn't higher than Judge in this, but the fact that it's even close tells you everything. I'm like, huh? Like that, I've never seen the second place argument more in my life than with Cal Raleigh. They're like, basically the argument is he's in second place and he plays catcher, so therefore that is more important than being in first place. No, it's not. Aaron Judge is the best hitter. He's the most dangerous hitter. He has more intentional walks. He's a higher OPS, better on base, better slugging, right? He's going to win the batting title. The fact that he's going to win the batting title, people forget he didn't win the Triple Crown because Arias was in the AL.
Yeah.
That's why he didn't win. He came in second. The fact he's actually going to win the batting title, it's locked up. There's nobody.
So batting title, he's got power. He's a great defender in right field. Superior numbers offensively. I don't really get it because people say, well, I want my MVP to be part of a winner.
I mean, the last time he had 52
didn't have a
home
problem.
runs, Gary, he didn't win.
Right. They want him to be a part of winning, right? That's what they want. But then they had no problem voting for Shohei Ohtani when he was playing for the Los Angeles Angels. And they said, well, what the hell do you want him to do? He's playing for a bad team. And we said, exactly. The end results of the season isn't predicated on the performance of one player. It just never has been. Never. I understand that people say, oh, without Judge, the Yankees can't win. Yeah, guys, that's going to be true, right? But at the same time, anyone just falling off the face of the earth, going to the IL, their team's going to lose games. They just are. You saw what happened with Houston this year. Alvarez goes down. Houston's fallen off a cliff. They haven't recovered. Mark with the 5. Really appreciate it, Mark. Says, I'm loving that people are talking Cal for MVP. It has lit a fire under Judge. The man's going to hit another, just wait. Big G is ready for October. Yeah, Jake, what do you think about that? About you mentioned earlier, maybe 2 or 3 weeks ago, that the home run chase could have been an explanation for why Judge was seemingly hunting for home runs, but now it's being seen as maybe a motivation to essentially get him off his butt and turn back into the MVP we know him to be. So what do you think about this?
Yeah, I mean, I think there's definitely some motivation there. Judge in his last 30 days, he's hitting 375 and has a 1,300 OPS. His last 15, he's hitting 455 and a 1,500 OPS, closer to 1,600. Whereas Cal Raleigh is hitting 253 his last 30 days and just over 1,000 OPS. Cal Raleigh, the last 15, is hitting 313 with almost a 1,300 OPS. Last 7, he's hitting 227. With Cal Raleigh, he's not really a hit for average guy, right?
Right.
But even he's hitting well right now for average, like over the last, X amount of. So I feel like there's a legit competition here. I think it's friendly, but there's a legit competition. I think Aaron
Which is
Judge
great for baseball.
It is. Aaron Judge knows what Cal Raleigh's doing. I don't care what anyone says. I don't care if people are like, well, we know the athletes, they don't look at social media. One, we know that's not true because Jazz Chisholm always looks at social media. There you go.
Yeah,
For
some
Jazz
look at it
alone,
more than others.
Yes,
Kevin Durant, Jazz Chisholm, right? You got a lot of people.
Yeah, we know that's false, right? But that said, if you think Aaron Judge isn't aware of what Cal Raleigh has for home runs, RBIs, I mean, his agent is probably texting him updates. He doesn't have to go and look for it. He's also, keep this in mind, he's got family. He's got friends. Oh, did you hear Cal hit another one? He's like, go silence them, Judgy. Like, I'm sure he's getting texts from his friends and family as well. So
he was on the Pat McAfee show yesterday. Hey, how can you miss it? Everyone knows what's going on. It's hit the mainstream media.
Yeah, he's well aware.
The same way Aaron Judge, when he was chasing to get to 62 homers, it was everywhere, right?
He's hitting
absolutely everywhere.
371 in September, though. That's just 1,400 OPS. I mean,
yeah. Both seasons are incredible. What Cal Raleigh's doing is awesome. It's great for baseball. Mm-hmm. Obviously, it would be nice if we were able to cover it and just have an understanding, but I guess that's the world we live in. We don't all have to agree on everything, and let's just hope the results go our way. But Mark, thank you for the super. We really appreciate that. And Ethan, don't know if I've seen Ethan in the supers. Thank you, Ethan. Really appreciate the 5.
Ethan.
Says, boys, we're taking the division. Jake, and I'm sure he would have naturally if you didn't say anything. Jake, please complain about the Gotham Sports app. It's close to being as painful as typing a super chat. Yeah, guys, we've heard how painful it is. Jake, somewhere along the way, you would have said something about the Gotham app. And I did see, I don't know if you saw it, that some of the coverage on Apple TV, and I don't know when we're on Apple TV, it may be this weekend. I would assume it is. I guess they're going to be filming some footage that they're going to have on the live broadcast. It's going to be shot with an iPhone 17 Pro. Quite the advertisement there.
I mean, how about it, right? And you know I'm a huge Apple guy, but that's silly. I think we both are, actually, but that's still silly.
We are. Yeah.
No Apple TV games for the Yankees the rest of the year, to 2 more games. This is what I will say about Gotham Sports, because, Ethan, you'll appreciate this. So today, now, mind you, my TV, when I'm working and I'm at my desk, not in the living room, I'm at my desk, is an iPad. Damn Apple, getting all sorts of free publicity. Anyway, so I had the iPad on Gotham Sports. And they're doing this new thing because even though, like I've said, they're a public bathroom, and it's slow and it's jittery and all of that, they're doing this new thing where they actually just close out of the app altogether.
Oh, so it crashes and brings you back to the main menu.
Every time. But when I'm working, like say I'm on a show and I have it off to the side, right? Oh, hello? I can't just go and be like, okay, yeah, let me do... Look at how ridiculous this is right here. Look at this. That's so stupid. So it just kept crashing, and I just said, screw it, and I just brought it up on my computer, and I went into GothamSports.com, because their website isn't as trashy as their app. Whoever designed their app should be fined. Straight
Which
up
technically
fined.
the app should be much better because...
you would think.
young people really need an app. If you have an app, the app's got to work, especially when you're forcing people to use it. And if you live in New York, no.
Someone's like, hey, when do we get a Yankees Unloaded app? I'm like, you guys wanted an app for everything.
What are you going to do with the Yankees Unloaded app?
It's like, oh, well, I don't know. We could watch the Yankees Unloaded videos on the app. It's like, well, so let me get this straight. You want us to embed the YouTube video that plays directly from YouTube and just put it in a different location? I don't.
And we get paid far less for it. Let's be real. There would be no there. People would probably be thrilled to know that there's no ads, and we hear about the ads, but it's the only way you make any money. So really appreciate you guys. Thank you, Ethan.
Big Boss Baby Bomber putting it perfectly. It constantly signs me out. It does. It'll sign you out. What
that's like the McDonald's app. I pull up to, they're like, "Are you gonna use the McDonald's app?" I'm like, yeah. They're like, "What's the code?" I'm like, "Wait, what just happened?" It crashed to the main menu. Now I've got to load, and there's like there's literally 6 cars behind me. And I know it's God smiting me for eating a McDonald's to begin with.
You deserve it.
Right, all those oils that you hate.
But all of them.
But
your
the
mom
point
hates
is,
them too, to be
the
fair.
apps, yes, she does. The app has to work. If I'm using your app, it's got to work. Apex, really appreciate you being a mod on our channel as always. Thank you for the 2. It says Volpe's error ruined Warren's momentum, in my opinion. I'm going to disagree. Did I think that Warren had momentum? Absolutely. At the beginning of this start, he was striking out everybody. Kind of went to Jake's prediction. Jake, I thought you were on the money. He had that swing and miss stuff. He was striking out hitters. He struck out 7 hitters in 5 innings of work. So if he would have stayed in this game for any length, he was going to get to that 9, 10, 11 mark, which was really good. But the problem is he gets those first 2 outs, and I get it. Plays need to be made behind you. You saw with Leiter Jr., I think it was -11 defensive runs saved when he's on the mound. You need your defense to show up. And yeah, Volpe making an error certainly didn't help him, but giving up home runs at the stadium with all the momentum and the offense working behind you, I thought they both were deserving of some blame there.
Yeah, I agree with you on that. I think it is kind of funny because like those stats, it's like, do they just hate him? Like why? Like why is that so bad? Like, and obviously I know.
Oh, you're talking about Leiter Jr.?
Yeah, I mean,
I'm not sure what it is.
He's not the only guy that's getting ground balls.
No, it's not. And what's weird about that though is we've seen that happen where it carries over year to year. Like we've seen it where Jordan Montgomery, when he used to pitch, we gave him no run support at all.
Every time.
Same thing
They're
with
like,
Jacob
Jordan's
deGrom.
pitching, screw him.
Right. Jacob deGrom pitching for the Mets. Jacob deGrom, when he was in his prime for the Mets, in my opinion, was the best pitcher I have ever watched. I've never watched anyone better.
Insane.
The Mets could not score for him. And they would score for the next guy and the next guy and have no problem scoring. As soon as he hits the mound, they're like, oh, guess we can take the day off. And guess what? It's 0-0 in the 8th inning, and he's still on the mound. Pretty ridiculous. But I have no idea why it is that they can't field the ball when Leiter Jr.'s out there. I don't know. Do you even have a guess? I really don't.
I don't know. I mean, that's the thing. When I'm joking about like, oh, they must just hate him. Like that's me saying, I don't know.
Oh God, we have people upset about the pronunciation of Jacob deGrom. Oh, who cares?
Anyway. What?
Perfect way for you to move on from that.
Didn't you hear Jack Curry say on the post show that Warren would be his number 4 if we needed one over heel? I gotta push back on the heel stuff. Yankee Fangirl, appreciate you. I saw an article today, okay, about how the Yankees themselves, I guess, I don't remember who it was that was interviewed or what it said, whatever. But essentially, Luis Gil's ERA is not telling the full story, and they basically believe that he's gotten lucky. I think that is bullshit. I think it's absolutely bullshit. You say what you will. If you have an issue with his walks, say it. Because I will be the first one to tell you, I'm Jake Ellenbogen, and I have an issue with Luis Gil walking 5 batters a game. There you go. It's now said. But I'm not going to sit here and say his ERA doesn't tell the full story. His ERA is not real. Like,
I don't know if I would have delivered it like that, because I think what it does is it tells a story that Yeah, because it tells the story. I don't even want to preface the statement by saying that we like Jack Curry, because, I mean, obviously. But I don't know. To me, it just kind of nullifies that number at all of what he's done, because you don't just have a low ERA based on luck. Spare me with that. If you've had 2 or 3 starts, I think there's a major aspect of luck there in 2 or 3 starts, sure. But to have him where he's had this long runway of the season now, I mean, he's pitched a while. He's been good. Has his control been there? No, not at all. But I would be curious to know how many people in our comment section, how many people that listen to our podcast would say, oh yeah, I would toss the ball to Will Warren, whether it be at Yankee Stadium or not. You just saw what he looked like at Yankee Stadium in a big game. There it was. And then you just also saw Heel pitch in a big game. You saw him pitch at Fenway in a big game. You saw how that looked. Would you guys throw Will Warren ahead of Luis Heel? For me personally, I don't even consider it. I'd be curious to know what everyone else thinks.
Well, we can find out because I just dropped a poll on YouTube. So
I even want to participate in this.
There you go. You got the poll going, and
is that not asinine? That's insane to me, because Will Warren gives up hard contact. He's not a bad pitcher. He's simply not. And to prove it, we've said we have high hopes for him in 2026. We think he can be a guy to start 30-plus games next year, and we're excited about that. But to sit up here and say, oh, the luck, no. For me, Cam Schlittler would be the guy I have starting Game 3, which they're doing. And if you don't trust Heel to have control, well, then have somebody ready like Yarborough out there in case of an emergency. That's what I do. I don't look Will Warren's way in a postseason game. No way.
No. Absolutely not. And I'm not saying Luis Heel is the greatest thing since sliced bread. Definitely not saying that. But my concern is going to be how often Will Warren has given up the deep ball, right? And that is a concern of mine, Gary. I mean, we saw that today. It completely changed the complexion of the game. The Yankees were able to hit today. But what happens if they don't get an 8-run? They lose this game. They lose this game that they started off perfectly, right? I mean, except leaving guys on base, but that's neither here nor there. The point being is that you can't have that. And so when you look at, Will Warren, it's like he's been giving up the big fly a little bit too much. And, I think that's an issue, Gary. I do. So, yeah, I mean, what is funny, though, and I will say this to be fair to Will Warren, I did just look at Luis Heel's stats in 2025.
Okay.
Air percentage, which is a fly ball, line drive, pop-up, 66.3% for his career, 69.5 in 2025. You know what Will Warren's is?
I'd probably say his fly ball rate.
Like just in-air percentage.
Is it like high 40s?
Well, it's still high. It's 56.4.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Which I guess it somewhat tells the story is that he doesn't have as much velocity to blow guys away. He's got great breaking stuff. I mean, you saw the sweeper today was really working. Yeah. But when you don't have 98, 99, and you also give up fly balls, this was part of our critique of Carlos Rodon. I mean, am I right? A lot of people said this is a fly ball pitcher at Yankee Stadium, and they've covered it. How is he going to make an adjustment off that? Well, his adjustment was, I'm going to work the sinker in there. I'm going to work a changeup in there to try and keep the ball out of the air as often. I want to miss bats, but I also don't need to be surrendering 10 fly balls a game. That could be a cause of concern, and right now it's killing Will Warren if he's giving up the long ball. You can't pitch in October giving up homers. One homer's fine, but when you give up multiple, I mean, you're begging to be pulled out of the game.
I got a better one for you. This is a better metric. How about barrel percentage, which means 95 miles per hour or more? Luis Heel has an 8.4, which is the lowest since his rookie year in 2021, which, like, obviously his rookie year was last year, but the first time he ever pitched was 2021, right? So 8.4. Will Warren's is at 10.5. That's significant.
Yeah, I mean, the obvious. You don't want to give up as much hard contact. I think we can all agree. Will Warren has better control than Luis Heel.
Yes.
However, on the broadcast, this was mentioned from Michael Kay, he'll have an inning, and it's usually the first inning. It wasn't today. First inning, he was great. First 2 innings, he was great. But there's usually an inning, one inning, where it just gets out of control out of nowhere. Out of nowhere. And it's not that he'll walk 2 or 3 and then you're like, all right, now I've got to go to my relief guys. No, he'll quite literally go out there, hit a guy in the foot with 2 outs and nobody on, walk the next guy and give up a 3-run homer. Luis Gil doesn't do that.
No.
He just simply doesn't do that. He may walk the bases loaded, but what he does well is get out of trouble. There's no aspect of luck to that. There just simply isn't. It's called run prevention, and that didn't start in 2025, Jake. That's been happening since the invention of baseball, and we were long not even close to here, Jake. Not at all. Baseball started in the 1800s, and this has always been prevalent. There have been guys who walk a ton of batters, but they don't give up a lot of runs. And there's guys that don't walk anybody, but they give up a lot of runs. The guys who walk people and don't surrender runs are better. They just are. So Luis Gil, for me, if you're worried about him because of that control, I think that's valid. It is. And I also would say, I don't even understand the premise of why someone in the Yankees brass would ever want to present this right now. I don't get it. It doesn't make sense to me because you just chose to not throw Luis Gil last year, right? He was healthy. We chose not to pitch him. And then all of a sudden, we get to this year, he's dominating. And now, oh no, this 4-starter, Will Warren, yeah, we would throw him ahead of you. Why? Because I walk guys? He gives up home runs. How's that better? I don't see the logic.
No, I get that completely. I got some interesting stuff here because I was like, okay, like the barrel percentage, I understand it's not everything, but it is a lot of things, right? Because if they're not hitting the ball hard, well, as a starter, that's going to allow you to get through a game, So
yeah,
I found it interesting because I was like, okay, well, let's just say for a second, we take Cam Schlittler, right? So his barrel percentage is at 8.4. So 8.4% of the time he's giving up 95 or more off the bat. And Will Warren is 10.7 or 10.7 for his career.
Okay.
Cam Schlittler is 7.6, which is shocking because he throws harder than both of them. Then you have Carlos Rodon, who gave up an 11 last year and 12.2 the year before. Do you know what it is this year? 7.5.
Wow, really?
Yes, which I actually like this stat because I think it goes to show you he's just become a way better pitcher, and it's been like overnight. Max Fried, the other guy in the rotation, giving up a 6.9, right? So now let's put him up against the best of the best. Paul Skeens, 5.8. Garrett Crochet, 7.3, right? And screw it. I'll look up Tarek Skubal while we're here, right? So the point being is that really Will Warren has numbers that you can't even toy with. Skubal's 8.1. I would say if Skubal's 8.1, you're trying to be in that 8 to 6 range. Obviously, Paul Skeens is just another level. 5.8 is insane.
Wait, 5.8 what?
5.8% of the time he's giving up a barrel. It's unreal.
Wow. Well, how about did you see the stat on Cruz out the bullpen today? In his last, I think it was like 8 to 10 times he's gone out to the mound. His walk rate is 25%. He's walking a quarter of the hitters that he sees. So these numbers matter. Like walks do matter, especially in the bullpen. Less so as a starter, right? We've seen guys like Blake Snell say, I don't really care if I walk guys based on who's on deck and so on. There's context to those walks. And I somewhat see where he's coming from, but you need control. Luis Gil doesn't have control, let's be honest. But he's got stuff to back it up and to get out of trouble. So got to give him credit where it's due, and we've tried to do that on this show.
Yeah.
Mark with the 2. Jake, I really appreciate you. I was trying to find the supers or where the hell we were. Mark with the 2 says, what about Philadelphia Milwaukee battle for the 1 seed? Reds won today. Is that a battle?
I mean...
I was unaware that there would even be a battle. I would have assumed Milwaukee would have it by now.
Well, no, Milwaukee ended up not winning as many games as I expected. Like they're not.
Philadelphia is 95 in 65.
Yeah.
And Milwaukee is 96 and 64. That's interesting because Philadelphia was the team I said was going to win the World Series in spring training. And obviously this season didn't go how I thought, right? Harper's dealt with injury all year. A couple players that they had, right? They lost their ace. But the Phillies this year they feel a lot like the Atlanta Braves in 2021. You lose Ronald Acuna Jr. They're like, how the hell are you guys going to win now? And they're like, watch this. So interesting race, and the Reds won today. So now I believe the New York Mets are out of the wild card spot currently if things ended today. Now there's 2 games left in the season, but
yes,
$343 million payroll, somewhere in that range. Quite the team they've built over there. Quite the future.
So right now, if you're not doing the math, you got the AL East and the AL Central that are dead heat tied for first place. That's crazy.
I bet they probably, each of these teams may want to reduce some of those games in June. Those games, a lot of people said, oh, no, this is just the June swoon. And other teams dealt with it too. We weren't the only team sliding. Detroit, as soon as the All-Star break came around, Detroit fell off a cliff. Off a cliff. And Jake, you predicted that they would come back down to earth. You weren't afraid of them. And you peel it back and you say, wow, those games in June and July that we really gave away with mental mistakes, they're coming back to haunt not just us, but a lot of these teams. Detroit's looking up saying, you mean to tell me the type of start? We walked in, Javi Baez was at the All-Star game.
I know. Well, I told you. I told you, man. All-Star game, all it means is I was good for not even half the season.
Right, so it goes to show you what the momentum's now looking like. All these games are important. You just don't know which are going to be, which is why you want a higher baseline where you don't have as bad of slides that last as long as, unfortunately, ours did. We were bad for about 2 months. I don't want to say yet that it's come back to haunt us because we could be popping champagne. And Jake, did you say I'm allowed to pop champagne on YouTube live?
Yeah, I believe so. I mean, I had a beer after the Rams clinched the Super Bowl appearance.
Okay, so I'll do some research on it. If I'm allowed to, I'll pop some champagne live on the YouTube. Why not? I'll get some really cheap champagne.
Astros are up 3-2 on the Angels, and there'd be a 3-way tie at 86 and 74, Astros, Guardians, and Tigers. So it's going to get wild. Like, MLB will feel very good about the way this goes down because there's going to be a lot of excitement for the last 2 games of the year. The Astros, of course, have to hold on. If they don't, they're in some deep trouble.
So you're telling me Apple TV made a solid investment by buying those last few games?
Yes, they knew what they were doing, for sure.
Yeah, just fair.
All right, Zachary, Mets suck. Have a great weekend, fellas.
You too, Zach. I hope you're getting out on the lake. I know the weather's starting to cool down a little bit, but yeah, the Mets absolutely do suck. You've hit the nail on the head there. An FGC Hitman, hell of a name there. Thank you for the 10. Says people who create narratives for Cal winning the MVP are digging into depths of analytics to make the MVP race seem closer than it really is. Judge for MVP. Now,
that's what I mean. It's all about making it closer. So then I can just basically, this is how it's working. Okay.
Yeah.
It's not about proving that Cal is better. It's about making it closer, and then you have to sell me on the story. I don't care about the story. I don't. I want the best player to win the MVP, and the MVP goes to the best player. And if you want to say, ooh, he's more valuable to their team, we've seen the Yankees without Aaron Judge. They don't make the playoffs. They don't. I'm sorry. Like 2023, they didn't make the playoffs without Aaron Judge. We've seen the Yankees
But do you
without
see
Aaron
how
Judge.
we're having to go into depth as to
I
like
hate it.
what makes... We
It's
shouldn't
so
even have to...
stupid.
It doesn't matter. The Yankees could be good without Aaron Judge. It wouldn't matter at all because your team and how your team does, it shouldn't have any bearing on who wins the MVP. Barry Bonds played on a bunch of... Like, sometimes Barry Bonds was just on a not-so-great team.
It's that stupid thing that happened in sports media where we started looking at the MVP, even though we were smart about it for a century. All of a sudden now an MVP is, oh, he's most valuable to their team. Hey, dipshit. The entire point of the MVP was to call it something valuable. Most valuable player. But it wasn't supposed to be overlooked as anything more than it's going to the best player. It's not who's most valuable to their team. That's the problem in today's world.
How many MVPs did Derek Jeter win?
Did he win an MVP?
That's the question, guys. Did Derek Jeter win any MVPs? Because mind you, people say that Derek Jeter is one of, if not the best shortstop in the history of the game.
No,
and
he
don't
never
they tell
won
us
an
that?
MVP.
He never won an MVP.
He won the World Series MVP. That's what I was thinking of.
Right.
But
And you know what? Many players have won the World Series MVP. That's not the same as MVP because that is, you need to be the most valuable player for a 162 game regular season. And more than likely, you're going to need power. And at that time, you need batting average. You need to drive in runs. You need to score runs yourself, right? All of these different things. We didn't have analytics when he was playing. Some, but very rarely. Now, are we now going to get into the argument of, oh, well, how valuable is it to be the table setter for the 98 Yankees?
Stupid.
How valuable? No, you don't get MVP by doing that. You get MVP by being the best player that year.
Yes.
And it's just as simple as that. If you guys want to change the name of it from most valuable player to just simply best player of the year, go ahead and do that so we can undo what we're trying to accomplish right now. There's a way to celebrate.
You see what I see, because it's been going on for years. Like, what if I told you, and this is going to blow people's minds that they don't know this, but some of people will. What if I told you there have been 2 NFL defensive MVPs? Defensive, not quarterbacks.
Was it Lawrence Taylor?
One of them was Lawrence Taylor. The other one was
That's
Alan
not
Page.
surprising.
Now,
they could probably also have given it to maybe a Darrelle Revis, but maybe.
I mean, Aaron Donald, Darrelle Revis, right? Point being, there's only been 2.
Yep.
But the reason that Lawrence Taylor was the MVP is because he was Lawrence Taylor. He was the best player in the league. This idea that you can only give it to who's most valuable to their team, it's a whole different topic, but in the NFL, it would only be quarterback would win it, and that's what's happened. This is what they're trying to do. Maybe I'm the only one that sees it, but this is what I believe they're trying to do to the catcher position. If Cal Raleigh wins as a catcher, they are setting the precedent. Catchers are more valuable than any other position. And Judge already went through this with Shohei Ohtani pitching, right? He won because Shohei Ohtani wasn't as good at the plate as he was, say, last year or years past. That's why he won. But make no mistake about it. If Aaron Judge had better numbers, was the better player all year, but Shohei Ohtani pitched and Shohei Ohtani's numbers were just a tad better, Shohei Ohtani wins that season. I have no doubt about it.
I agree with that, W, by the way. I do think to some extent and to a major extent that we are just selling content. I think that's what it is that a lot of these writers, and you've seen some of them, the ones that are forced to go speak out publicly on bigger shows, they're like, yeah, I would vote for Judge. But yet we're still writing these pieces and having this conversation. It really shouldn't even be much of a conversation. It just shouldn't be.
Buster Olney had a really good argument early on in the year about why Aaron Judge is the MVP. And
what did he say?
Well, his thing was he was doing stuff like, because I mean, Cal Raleigh, it's been all year, right? It's been these two all year. But what he was saying, I remember earlier in the year, was he was basically making the argument like, at the time, this guy's hitting on the level of Ted Williams. Like, a catcher doing this well is great and everything. But, I mean, we're talking about just on another plane. And that's the thing with Aaron Judge. Just when you think his game has just absolutely peaked, he steps it up another notch. Like, next year, he might hit 340. Because the thing about Judge is that he continues to learn every single year from his prior mistakes. And that's why I believe, like you do, I believe he's going to be much better in the postseason because he's adjusted. He's no longer just swinging for the fences every time, and it felt that way. Now, he's going with the pitch. He's not afraid to just put it in play. Singles are better than strikeouts, right? Home runs are great, but if I need to get a single here, I can do that. If I can just serve it into left field, right field, I can do that. And that is the Aaron Judge that we've seen throughout the year. Regardless of what anyone wants to say, it's why he's going to win the batting title. That's why.
Do you see the vote, by the way, between Heel and Warren? It was 91% for Heel. Now, let me ask you this question.
Yeah, on 145 votes, too.
Yeah. Now, let me ask you this question. If we could have a vote, and we aren't allowed to vote, and not these two jabronis that run this pod, none of our audience could vote, we just simply let the general managers for the other 29 teams in the league, and you said, which player would you want, 2025 Aaron Judge or 2025 Cal Raleigh? Which player does your team need? Which player do you think? What percentage of those 29 remaining teams, what percentage pick Aaron Judge? You guys tell me. I don't even really have to say anything. I don't even have to offer an opinion. You guys tell me which player would the rest of the league want. That's what this award should be, and that should be how you dictate who wins MVP this year, next year, and any year beyond that, is who had a season where you're like, man, I wish we had that guy. There's only one that guy, and that guy's stats plays in right field for the Yankees. It's just that simple.
Yeah, and by the way, in addition to that, I always hear the argument Cal Raleigh is an elite catcher, elite defensive catcher. That's not true. It's just not true. It's not baked in reality. Austin Wells is a better catcher than Cal Raleigh. We explained it, right?
And no one looks at Austin Wells like he's Yadier Molina. He's just a good catcher. He's a good catcher, good framer of the ball, but nobody looks at Austin Wells. Yeah, you wouldn't look at Austin Wells and say, oh, he's a premier glove. You just don't do that.
Here's the deal, Gary. So Cal Raleigh can throw guys out. He has a +2 caught stealing above average.
Mm-hmm.
You know what his blocks above average are?
No, I have no guess in the world.
-5. Literally 11th percentile.
Right, so their rebuttal will be, well, what does Aaron Judge block? And I said, well, now we're just blurring the lines for what matters.
Well, but like, see, that's the thing to me, okay? Because like the one thing that you could say he's great at is framing. He's a +7 framer. He's got a pop time 39th percentile. Caught stealing above average is at 71 percentile and 11 percentile block. On what planet is that an elite defensive catcher? Well, and this, I always get this. Well, this is a guy, he's won the Platinum Glove. That's great. So did Jose Trevino. I don't even know where Jose Trevino is now. But the point being, I do, he's on the Reds. But the point being is that I don't care that you won the Platinum Glove. Like, you don't just get to be considered an elite catcher when he hasn't been in the league that long.
And also, Jose Trevino wasn't an elite catcher. He couldn't throw.
Yeah.
So you guys gave a Platinum Glove to a man who has a pool noodle for a right arm. Give me a break with platinum glove. That matters for some guys. Like, I've watched Nolan Arenado and Matt Chapman win platinum gloves, and I go, oh, that looks like a platinum glove winner.
Omar Vizquel.
Watch the games, guys. Don't just tell me, oh, he won this award, so it means this. Anthony Volpe won this award, Gold Glove, so it's just a sure thing. No, it isn't. Watch the game. Cal Raleigh is just a decent catcher who hits a lot of home runs, and he's hitting 250. That's an awesome season. Any team would take that. They wouldn't take it over Aaron Judge. And my milkshakes, want to throw you up on screen. Thank you for the 2. Says, glad Soto walked. Where would we be without Belly? It's kind of sad that we're now in the mind frame that we can't get said player unless another player walks out the door. I was under the impression that the best thing for the Yankees is just get the best players for the job. And if Juan Soto signed with the Yankees, you guys should have said, okay, that's awesome, and we're glad that he's here. We've got this 1-2 punch. What can we do on top of that? And you bring in a Cody Bellinger.
Yeah, I think it's more so just the replacement of the player. I think they were going to get Bellinger anyway.
That would have been one hell of an outfield. And I know Grisham has been awesome, but
because Grisham emerged. But remember what they were saying. They wanted to play Grisham more. They didn't say they believed Grisham was a starter. So they wanted to play him more.
That is true. You're right. Yeah.
So I think he just emerged this year, and it's like, oh, shit, okay. Like, look what we have. But I really...
kind of Matt Carpenter-esque.
Yeah, I mean, I genuinely believe that they were going to go after Bellinger even if they got Soto.
Could you imagine?
What I will say they wouldn't have done is gotten Fried. They don't get Fried if they get Soto. If Soto came back, they don't sign Fried. And I think they would have made the argument that look at our farm system. And to be fair, their farm system looks absolutely loaded at pitcher. Loaded. You know, Rodriguez Cruz, and I mean, these guys weren't proven at the time, but Cashman would have dressed it up as that and said, we trust our farm system. We have Luis Gil. We have keep in mind, Garrett Cole didn't get hurt yet. So you had Garrett Cole, Luis Hill, Rodon, right? Then you have Will Warren, who they were telling us they were higher on than we were. And sure enough, he had a good year. And, I mean, there are other guys as well. But the point being is that I don't think they get freed. They might have gone out and got somebody who was like a little bit more low-key and signed them. And Stroman was there. And I don't know what you're doing there, man. Like,
I tried to hit the subscribe button, and it just flew me off the screen.
You are a bozo. Anyway,
that's the last I'm clicking the button. I'll let you click them from now on.
Yeah. I'm the captain of the ship.
Yeah.
But no, all jokes aside, of course, I don't bully Gary like that. But all jokes aside, Stroman, right? We didn't really want Stroman, but Stroman was another. The point being is, Fried, to me, whether you believe it or not, I truly believe that Fried was signed because they're like, hey, well, we already allocated all that money and assumed Juan Soto would be back. Now we can go out and we can get our starting pitcher that maybe we wouldn't have been able to get before. And I think in terms of that, I think it made them a better team. I think I'd rather have Fried than Soto. I know some people would push back against that. I think he's shown you how valuable he is, and just think about it. Say you'd rather have Soto than Fried. Okay, so what happens when Garrett Cole goes down inevitably in this new realm that you are in, right?
I guess in hindsight, someone could say, all right, well, if that happens, right, the Yankees went into the deadline and said, we don't need a starting pitcher, but we'll go for one, right? The whole Sandy Alcantara thing, there were other starting, maybe a Joe Ryan. Now, some of these guys are available at the deadline. Maybe the Yankees can say, and people would argue, yeah, if we ended up re-signing Soto, we get no Fried, we would have been a little bit more aggressive bringing a starter in here. Now, again, there's a lot of ifs there. You have to, still work has to be done, trades have to be made, but I would agree with you. Max Fried has probably been the most important guy on the field that's throwing a baseball. And he just is. A huge question mark for us is when he gets to a certain amount of innings, how reliable will he be? You saw the blister issue. You saw him work through that, and he's pitched some big games. He's come through. He's been awesome. So just to remove what he's done and then insert a strictly offensive asset into the outfield, you're also most likely moving Aaron Judge back into center field, moving Cody Bellinger into left field, the tougher defensive assignment. Does that make the Yankees a better team? I don't think it does, just removing one player for another. But obviously, everyone would love to have Juan Soto. But the way it's working out for the Yankees is that he is potentially on his way home, and we're not.
Yeah, well, we'll see what ends up happening there, but that would be hilarious. Carlos, appreciate the 2. Warren, Schlittler combo for game 3. Well, I definitely want Schlittler starting that one. Will Warren, if he wants to be the double-barreled action. But at the same time, I think I would rather have Yarby, truthfully. Yeah,
I don't want Will Warren to even put his uniform on. If he's going to wear his uniform and sit in the dugout and spit sunflower seeds, I have no problem with it. And by the way, someone would listen to that and be like, oh, Gary hates Will Warren. No, listen to, guys, we have 162 episodes in about a couple days. We have a ton of footage of us talking about Will Warren and how high we are on him. He should not be pitching in a big, no. It just shouldn't happen. Carlos Rivera, thank you for the gifted sub. I saw we had a couple in there. Yeah, Carlos, thank you for doing so. Yeah, we don't really talk about him. Yeah.
And then we got David
Carlos,
L. So
thank you guys.
Gifted subs. We appreciate you guys. You guys are fantastic people. So we really do appreciate the support, and it's awesome.
Jake, you ever done that? You ever gone to Starbucks or any? I know me and you aren't really drinking caffeine anymore, but
yeah,
you ever done that where you pay for the person behind you?
Yeah. I
have
once, you? Yeah, I actually just did it recently. I was at my grocery store, Price Chopper, and I think it's Market 32 now. But anyway, yeah, this guy. He had like, I don't know, $50, $60 of groceries, and like,
okay,
was I could just tell he was like feverishly putting them down, like he was in a hurry. I was like, I got you. And he's like, what? I was like, I got you. And like he felt like creeped out by it, honestly. So like I just did it, and I was just like, You see those groceries? Yeah, you can put them back in your cart because they're yours.
I don't understand how you don't have an amazing reaction to that. Now, you don't do it for the reaction.
No.
But I mean, come on. I've done this too at this Mexican joint, hole in the wall burrito place. And I walked up and this guy was like, hey, the gentleman actually in front of you, he actually paid for your meal. I was like, what? Now, mind you, I spent this is before inflation. The burrito was like $4.25. So I'm sitting there thinking, oh, that was nice of them. I didn't worry that it was $4.25. Then I was like, hey, I'll pay for the person behind me. And they were like, sounds good. They spent like $35. So I just got ripped off. It sucked.
It's funny because there's this comedian I'm not the biggest fan of. I don't always find him funny, Tim Robinson, but he had one
Tim Robinson. Let me
sketch
Google that.
In general that just, if Alex is in here, he'll know. But Tim Robinson had a sketch on the Pay It Forward train.
Seen him.
And it killed me. It was so funny. They're in a drive-through. It's like he's trying to start a Pay It Forward train. So she goes all the way back in and she's like, 55 burgers, 55 fries, 55. I'll send it to you, dude. It's so funny. You got it. You definitely have to check that one out. That skit is so funny.
Yeah, if you're tight on money, paying it forward is not the move. But anywho, we really appreciate you guys gifting subs.
Yes,
because not everybody can do that. So thank you guys for doing that. And Nick's now with the 2 says it's always a great weekend to see the Mets lose. We were under the impression that they were the big brother now in New York. I guess I haven't seen that in a while. I would just assume that they're going to punt that into next year because they're high on their system. Who knows?
I remember seeing this. It was the Clippers and the Lakers. That's right.
Yeah.
They're like, Lob City. It was like,
oh my God.
The dumbest shit ever, man. I don't know. I can't.
It's entertaining. There's still levels to it. I'm not on that thing where I'm like, really looking to troll the Mets. Do I enjoy it from time to time? Absolutely. But they're not on my mind for the most part because it's been a really long time since they've been the king of New York. I understood they participated in the World Series in 2015. That was an accomplishment to get there. Just the same as it was somewhat of an accomplishment for us to get there. But Mets fans don't say, oh, the Yankees won the pennant last year. They don't talk about that because we didn't win the World Series. And so they should be held to that same standard if they want to be big brother with us. Well, if you want to have that standard, it's been since the 80s since you guys have been relevant. So Apex, thank you for the 2. Said silver lining Warren out in the pen in 2026. Start Beast. Oh, out the pen. I don't really, what do you see? Do you see real quick here? Because I know we've talked about Will Warren a lot. Do you think that they'll go that Michael King route? Obviously before Michael King became a starter. Do you think they go that direction? Because that's certainly a possibility when you have guys in your system that are highly touted. If you don't trade those players, their only value is pitching for your big league team. And maybe Will Warren, who doesn't have the greatest stuff, he doesn't throw 100, and some of those guys in the minor leagues do. Do you think he could phase into the bullpen, which could help our bullpen long term? But I'm not so sure on that.
I think you got to be really careful about this one, Gary, because if you fly too close to the sun, you're Icarus, you're going to get burned. And so, the reason I say that is because you have a really good pitcher here in Will Warren who's got a lot of value. The trade value's off the charts, but once you put him in the bullpen and you commit to him there, teams are not going to view him the same way. And so I think you got to be cautious with that because to me, they're going to have to make a decision this winter if Will Warren is a part of this rotation moving forward, or if he's just not going to make it and they're going to trade him. But as soon as you put him in the bullpen and you tell the rest of the league you don't view him as a starter, his value drops. I don't care what anyone says. I don't care how valuable the bullpen is. His value drops because you're telling me he's no longer a starter. You don't trust him. That makes him less valuable.
Yeah, and if you want to trade him, he's got a ton of value. He's struck out over 171 guys this year.
It's insane.
He's got swing and miss stuff, and we all know that. Does every player in the league just simply improve year after year? No, absolutely not. There's clearly regression. Some guys don't ever get up off the mat. But I think the way the other 29 teams probably look at Will Warren is that he's an unfinished product. He needs time in the oven. But there's definitely something there. There's absolutely talent. His four-seam fastball was dismal to start this year. They said, oh, we've worked on the sweeper, we've worked on the four-seam fastball, and we look at the analytics and those exact pitches improved immensely. So, credit to Will Warren for the improvement. It's just not enough of an improvement to really take precedent over the other players on the roster. And Ethan says we've saved him from traffic. Thank you for the 10, Ethan. I see him working out in the picture. Love that.
We saved him from a speeding ticket.
Yes, exactly.
Damn.
Says, this is the first live show I've gotten to listen to, but I'm an everyday fan of Yankees Unloaded. Thank you for that, Ethan. Says, thank you guys for saving me from a speeding ticket earlier in the season when things weren't as fun. I'm assuming he's talking about over the summer when it was just horrible to be a Yankees fan. It was not fun. So yeah, Ethan, thank you for the super, my man. And Ed W. Oh, that was, you go ahead. Yeah, take it away, Jake. You got it.
Ed W., thank you for the 5. Did anyone see the graphic on MLB showing Ben Rice hard hit percentage over 55%, almost same as Judge? Yeah, he's him, right? I actually want to get, so Will Warren, we've been really fair, I think, with the criticism, but we've also been fair in the applause. 32nd in the league in strikeouts, which is pretty crazy when you think about it. But one thing, there were 2 players that came out and said they worked on things in the offseason. They were vocal. Now, I understand anybody can say this, but I want to give Will Warren and Ben Rice a ton of credit because they both put their money where their mouth was. Will Warren said he'd been working on different pitches. He had learned from the mistakes of last year and felt like a much more confident pitcher. That's what I saw this year. A guy that actually has stuff, but it's not just stuff. He's got, he's actually got command. Like he isn't wild, right? So Will Warren can work in this league. He's only going to get better. I firmly believe that. Ben Rice, we're going to be talking there's no reason why he can't end up being a top 20 hitter in baseball. Truthfully, there's no reason why he can't. He's already
I'd say that's
good.
Fair.
Yeah. So these 2 guys, they put it out there, and some people would say, oh, well, yeah, anybody says that. Yeah, but once you say that, the pressure's on. There's a reason why Anthony Volpe didn't come out and say, I worked on this, and this. I'm going to be, this is going to be a great year. He didn't really say anything. He's been more. So I give those 2 credit because instead of just having the PR answer, the NPC answer, and just be like, yeah, no. They actually pinpointed the things that they worked on, the things they improved on, and then they were like, show me, don't tell me. So they went out there and they actually showed that they improved. So I do think that matters, and I just want to give him credit because Ben Rice was a part of this, and we're talking about Will Warren. Will Warren now has officially finished the season at a 9-8 record with a 4.44 ERA and 171 strikeouts and a 1.37 WHIP. And what I would say to that is that shows a lot of promise. He was the 5 starter this year. He's not quite where you want him to be, but it shows a lot of promise for the future. He's going to be a lot better moving forward. He's going to learn from this season. Last year, he didn't even look like he was an MLB pitcher. Huge strides. And Ben Rice, let's bring up Ben Rice's numbers, right? Let's just do that. Because Ben Rice last year felt like fool's gold at the end of the season. I wasn't out on him, right? But it really started to feel like, oh, okay, the Ben Rice thing, like, we're going to have to wait till next year. And we did. But Ben Rice, in 50 games played, 152 at-bats, hit 171 with a 613 OPS. He had 7 home runs. We went all crazy because he hit 3 of those 7 in one game. Ben Rice, the next year, in 136 games, hit 24 home runs. By the way, he had 4 triples this year. No one talks about that. 28 doubles, 117 hits, so almost a hit per game. He had a 254, he's going to play the next 2 games likely. 254 batting average, 337 on base, 489 slugging, and an 826 OPS. Night and day. He came out and said, I added 10 pounds of muscle. Yeah, we can tell, big boy. We can tell. So shout out to those guys. They actually said something, and then they actually did it. Talk is cheap. If you can't back it up, no one cares. But I just got to give him credit for actually doing that.
Yeah. Who I actually see from Ben Rice? Because I really do see mid-30s pop. You guys have to keep in mind how often Ben Rice didn't play at all because the Yankees just admitted we're running a platoon with Ben Rice. Then you saw at the end of the year, oh no, we'll face him against a lefty. You didn't see that today, unfortunately. It worked out, so we won't complain.
I think he hits 35 next year, but go on.
35. Do you know a player now mind you, is he going to be him? No, he will not. But he actually really reminds me just the profile of Eddie Murray. Because if you look up, he really would hit anywhere between 28 and 33 homers, right? And again, this is an all-time great player. He's not going to be Eddie Murray, but it goes to show you hard contact, will go all directions, doesn't mind, and really a mature player beyond his years. So I'm excited to watch what he does. Obviously, the year's not over. I want to see what he does in October, because that's where you really figure out what someone's made of, what's between the ears. We've learned a lot watching Giancarlo. We're like, oh, you know what? We trust him. And everyone's like, well, why? We don't know. He gets locked in for October. I want to see if Ben Rice is built that way. I want to see if Cam Schlittler is built that way, because I have a good guess as far as how those three will fare in October. So that'll be fun. And it goes beyond just hitting the ball hard. And Mark with the 5, thank you for that, Mark, who also I saw you won a big bet. He had a parlay going today. And it didn't go exactly his way, but almost. Mark with the 5 says, what year was it? Believe there was a 3-way tie recently, and they had a 1-game playoff when the tie occurred with one team. Jake, I'm not sure if you know. They were given a bye, and then they faced the winner. Do you remember when there was a 3-way tie at the end of the year?
No, I do not.
I simply do not remember that. And guys, in the chat, if you can remember, we'll throw you up on screen. I'm curious to know exactly what year that was.
That's interesting. In the wild card?
I mean, I would assume it wasn't.
So there's been a 3-way tie in baseball. 2024, the Diamondbacks, Mets, and Braves tied for 2 wild card spots, with the Diamondbacks being eliminated. Because the tie-breaking procedures in MLB for a 3-way tie involve head-to-head records between tied teams to determine the order of designation for playoff berths and further tie-breaking scenarios. Problem is, Diamondbacks actually led the league in scoring, but that doesn't matter, which I told you I absolutely hate. I disagree with it entirely. Yep. But yeah, they do the 3-way head-to-head records. 2021, the Red Sox, Blue Jays, and Yankees were in a 3-way tie for the American League wild card berth. 2016, Toronto, the Orioles, and the Tigers were involved in a 3-way tie for the wild card position. In 2013, the Indianapolis Colts. Good God. Good God. I
don't think they tied.
The Cleveland Indians, Tampa Bay Rays, and Texas Rangers. Can't you tell my teams play the Colts? We're tied for 2 American League wildcard spots. Good God, man. Shout out to the Colts fans in here. I know there's probably somebody. So, anyway, that was funny.
That is hysterical.
I'm used to. Well, it's even funnier because I realized I was about to screw it up, and then I just said screw it. I'm about to tell you that I was about to screw it up, and then I just did. I wasn't expecting going from the Cleveland Guardians to the Cleveland Indians, so that threw me off.
Yeah, I will say with the whole changing of the name, I am pretty bummed. They had one of the coolest logos ever. Their hats were. I literally have one in my closet. They are sick.
His name Chief Wahoo.
Yeah, I guess so.
Or Chief
I didn't. I obviously. Yeah, I didn't really care who the chief was, but it sure looked cool. I feel like the logos back in the day were actually a lot better.
I like the old school Pirates hat. My dad has one of them.
Yeah. Oh, you talking about the ring on the top? Yeah, those are really cool. Yeah, and Kenneth, thank you for the 2, says Cal is a glorified Mark Reynolds. Now, I grew up a Mark Reynolds fan here in Arizona. He's not Mark Reynolds. But I see where you're going with it, where Mark Reynolds could hit 45 homers. He certainly had that type of power. They called it light tower power. That's what they used to call it growing up. Well, hitting 45 home runs doesn't just immediately signify you're valuable. You also need to look at batting average. And then as the game evolved, we said, let's look at his ops. Let's look at his Fangraphs war, right? Let's look at his bacon. Let's look at all these different numbers, RB runs, everything, the whole picture, how he impacts his team, all of that. And Mark Reynolds, for the most part, had hardly any impact. He was a solid third baseman. He hit for a ton of power. Struck out. I believe he, at the time, set the record for strikeouts in a season. Cal Raleigh is not in that fold. Cal Raleigh is an all-time great player. He's got to do it for longer, but in a one-game standalone season, yeah, Cal Raleigh's been awesome. It's just not as awesome as what we're looking at.
Yeah, no, I agree. And then Leiter Jr. has been terrible. Doval, clean inning. Teabag, thank you for the 2. Yeah, I want to just further highlight this. Doval's clean inning was the best inning he's ever pitched for the New York Yankees. That is a good sign. I'm not going to tell you right now to get your hopes up that Doval is going to be special during October. But
what do you do with him?
That was a sign. I'll answer that right in a sec. That, to me, that moment, Gary, that was a sign of what he can be. That was us finally seeing what he has been in the past, because since he's been with the Yankees, he really hasn't shown that. Like, he was dominant. So this is what I'll say. I think he's probably a 5th, 6th inning guy if like a start doesn't go that well. But I don't think that they're going to put him in high leverage.
That's fair, because we don't really have time. If the division wasn't the current situation where we have to win these next 2 games, Toronto's got to win their next 2 games, they're going to be seen as Game 7 situations, all hands on deck. They're not going to throw Doval, as good as he looked today. They're not just simply going to say, hey, he looked awesome yesterday, throw him in the 8th in a tie game. No. They're simply going to just have to throw him in low leverage situations. And there's not really a ton of low leverage in October. There just won't be. But as low leverage as you can give him, right? And maybe we're up 2 or 3. It's the 5th or 6th.
No, that makes sense.
We don't want it to blow up. Obviously, giving up any run sucks, but it's not horrible if he walks a run in and then we have to bring somebody else in. But yeah, I don't think there's enough runway here for Doval to earn a spot where you can just trust him in October. We're just going to have to figure it out on the fly.
Another month building off that, I think you could argue, but yeah, he's going to be a guy that they use probably in the mop-up role, or they'll try and like get away with one in the 7th inning. I think that's the furthest he goes. I don't think we're going to see him in the 9th, the 8th. Well, let's put it this way. If you see him in the 9th, it means the game got out of hand and it's not good. Mark, thank you for the 5. Think of it this way. If Judge and Raleigh were both rookies right now, Mariners GM would trade Cal, bunch of first-round picks and players and money for Judge. That's a really good point.
Everyone would. Everyone. Yeah. And if age is a factor, then yeah, maybe you don't want to trade for the 32 or 33-year-old. But guys, in a standalone season, everyone trades. Anybody for this season that we've gone.
I think the catcher thing is a little overrated. I've seen the argument that he's so much better than every other catcher, but I think it's a weak catcher, like league right now. So it's like, does that really matter? If anything, I feel like people are looking at one way. I'm looking at the other. I'm actually looking at like, yes, catcher matters. I'm not saying it doesn't, but look at how many teams are okay with just mediocrity at catcher. Look, it's all around the league.
Bad hitter and good framing. That's pretty much what you see.
Yeah, they care more about framing, and that's kind of where I'm at. I mean, I don't like discredit catching. I tried to learn how to catch, and I could tell you, man, my knees, like I could feel it. Like those guys, there's a lot of wear and tear. Can't even imagine what they're going through. But that said, if the league had as much value for catchers as they're trying to portray the league as having, then we wouldn't see Austin Wells as a top 5 to 7 catcher, right? That's the thing. Like, Austin Wells is one of the better catchers in baseball. And the idea that you can get a catcher that hits 20-plus home runs, knocks in 80 RBIs, hits 8th or 9th, and he can frame, well, there you go. So it's like, I just feel we're not talking about a Buster Posey, Joe Mauer, all those things, right? Like, we're not talking about that type of thing. And you just sent me something.
I just sent you, actually, because there's a super chat that we have next from Mark. And he says, with the 5, I want you to throw this up on screen to really bring home this point. Mark with the 5 says, it's Mantle Maris MVP race all over again. I sent you actually a tweeting thread of it where the tweet reads, this is seriously like 1961 again. Roger Maris should not have won. His teammate Mickey Mantle should have. Now, the tweet brings their stats side by side, so you get an opportunity to see exactly what those numbers look like.
You mean like this?
There you have it. Can we zoom in on that just a little bit?
Yes, I'm trying. Might be too much.
Nothing about that season is better. It's not. 61 home runs to 54 is marginal. Those are two just premier power bats. Just simple as that. 141 ribbies to 128, pretty marginal. So he's faster. He's hitting 50 points higher in his batting average. He's getting on base. I mean, guys, it's 80 points different in terms of on-base percentage. The slugging is better. The ops is better. The ops plus is better. The WAR is better. I mean, I guess you can give some credit for playing 161 out of 162 games, but is it enough to narrow the margin to where you're deserving of the MVP? No, it's not. It's the total package. How good of a player are you? Mickey Mantle that year was the best player on the field, period. And that's the same thing we're looking at now.
Yeah, I don't even think it's, I mean, I hate saying it like that. I don't really think it's close because Aaron Judge is literally winning the batting title. Like, Adam Dunn hit 40-plus home runs many years, and I think he led the league one year. Imagine Adam Dunn hitting 300-plus. That's what makes it so impressive. See, that's the thing. There's a disconnect here. The league's telling us that catchers don't matter as much, and yet they're putting such a value with catchers. But at the same time, the league keeps telling us how important all of these new age stats are, like OPS plus and weighted runs created. And this dude is slaying the other dude like it's a knight taking down a dragon. And
this is sad, by the way, that Mickey Mantle didn't win that MVP. That's a shame. It's a shame.
That was my grandpa's favorite player.
Can't blame him. And unfortunately, it's hard to afford any merchandise from the man. I've tried looking that up before. I'm like, it'd be really cool to just get, I mean, you know how everyone does the whole man cave crap and they put jerseys up on the walls like we've got. I mean, we're podcasters. We can get away with it. And people are like, I want to get Magic Johnson. I want to get Michael Jordan. Give me Mickey Mantle, right? You want to get this cool decked out place. Yeah, I looked up a Mickey Mantle jersey. Not affordable.
Yeah. You have to get one of those cheap jerseys.
Yeah,
anyway.
That's all right.
Anyway, this is what we're looking at here. We're not crazy. Don't care what anyone says. He's basically worth 2 more wins above replacement than Cal. And Cal's played more games. And the home runs, he's been selling out to hit the home runs. It's clear. And I think the biggest thing is, and it's no problem, right? Like, it's not like I'm hating on him for it.
No, God, no.
But at the same time, this is ridiculous. What bothers
because so is Trent
me,
Grisham.
Yeah, it bothers me because I understand you want to give a lot of credit to Cal. Totally get that, right? I give him a lot of credit. But at the same time, he's hitting 247. This didn't move, by the way. He's still hitting 247. So what I like, my biggest issue with this is because of Cal Raleigh and like the fact that he's a catcher doing this, which is impressive. Don't get me wrong. But we're ignoring and we're almost normalizing how, like, what the hell is this season? This is ridiculous. This is one of the greatest seasons we've ever seen.
It's more Albert Pujols-like. Now, mind you, a lot of people are going to say, oh, no, Pujols were better. No, they weren't, because Aaron Judge hit second. So the reason that you guys don't see 125 ribbies, right, that is predicated on where you're hitting in the lineup. This is exactly what we told you guys about Wells. It's what we told you guys about Volpe. A lot of guys in our lineup that are piling in the RBI, and they'll go, oh, I have 75 ribbies this year. And I'm like, well, you didn't hardly do anything, right? So if Aaron Judge, if we slotted him fourth this year, how many RBIs does he have?
Yeah.
145? It probably looks like that.
Today.
Right. So Aaron Judge is, and it's the exact same conversation. I'm not biased for Judge. I had this exact same conversation when it came to Ohtani. And people said, yeah, but Ohtani doesn't drive in runs. I said, Ohtani leads off. Why would you ask him to drive in runs? Nobody's on base in his first at bat the whole year. It's just that simple. So Aaron Judge, really, if you look at who his leadoff hitters have been, for the most part, they've been boppers. Nobody's really on base, and he's just hitting himself in, or he's scoring a run himself. I believe he scored over 130. Thought it was 133 runs the last time I checked. But it's incredible, man, what he's doing. It is.
Yeah, I mean, it's... How many times has, like, a 330... Like, winning the batting title and having an OPS in the 1100s is, like, Rogers Hornsby... Barry Bonds. Barry Bonds, right? It would be Barry Bonds, Rogers Hornsby, Babe Ruth.
I mean, it's going to be Pujols. You may see a Miguel Cabrera in there.
Yeah, I mean, that's insane.
Yep. It's pretty incredible, but they want the context of catching. We don't place that much value into it. It's valuable. It's not as. Apex, appreciate the 2. Says, I trust Warren far more than half the bullpen, to be fair. I don't. I just...
No, I think the bullpen's gotten over their issues, and it doesn't mean you're not going to get a bad outing here and there, and Cruz, his control could be a problem, but I actually trust the bullpen. I know it
Don't
sounds
they have
weird.
19 2/3 of scoreless innings?
That's what I mean. Going? Like, I understand people are a little like shell shocked from all that, but think about this: the Yankees have the best record since August 3rd. Don't you think the bullpen would have had to be complete dog water for them to not have the best record?
The bullpen was good. You can't be good in that gauntlet we played if the bullpen didn't pull their weight. They did something, guys. So let's give them blame for what happened. And let's also give them credit for what's happening now, because you don't really win a World Series or even have a shot if you're not pitching well now when you start the postseason. We are. So we'll see what they do. Obviously, there's a lot still to do. There is. They could just show up and Leiter Jr. could be on a mound in a clutch situation for reasons that we can't describe to you. We cannot explain it. But they've got to help get us across the finish line. Our offense, I feel, is doing enough now. They're finally starting to execute with their opportunities. And Jersey Flo with the 2 says there's breaking news. How do you see the Yanks lineup looking next year? I would assume Grisham is out of it, and you can insert Spencer Jones. I think the infield, I'm going to steal Jake's point, that it looks pretty similar. First base going to look different. It should be Ben Rice. I think they're going to go with Wells. They're going to run it back at catcher. Let him get beat up back there. It's his job. He was developed as a catcher. I guess so was Ben Rice, but Wells doesn't have that bat that Ben Rice currently has got. I think that's going to be the difference in our lineup. And if Stanton hits in October, they're going to run it back again, and Stanton gets much cheaper, I believe, next year. I think he's $10 million on our books instead of 25 plus or 32, whatever it was. More so of what they're going to do via trade. Do they go big game hunting? Do they bring in another bat in the infield? Who knows?
Yeah, I think it's going to look very similar to what it is currently. I can't put my finger as to what they're going to do in the outfield. Like, part of me believes that Grisham could be back, but part of me believes that it's going to be Spencer Jones, and they might even go with Dominguez. It's going to be really interesting. I guess it depends on who's available during the winter meetings, Gary, because, you know, if they feel like they have a chance to get a Joe Ryan and you have to part with one of those guys, I think they'll do it. But at the same time, I don't know what their thoughts are on the guys in the minor leagues, because they might just be like, screw it, we don't even need Joe Ryan. We have ERC, and we're really high on him, and we believe in him. We'll trade Will Warren for a bat or something. You know what I mean? Like, so I just think right now, even though it feels like it's easy to say, because it feels like it's going to be pretty much the same lineup, I still think some of those things in there, it's just a wait and see approach. It's going to be tough. It really is to guess, because, yeah, there's a lot of different ways that they can go in.
I mean, they can completely punt on Volpe. They could say, hey, it's just arbitration. He's cheap. We'll bring him back. Caballero's our shortstop, right? It can all go a ton of different ways, right? Jazz Chisholm
has a lot to do with that too.
Yeah,
so.
Jazz Chisholm could just lay an egg and make some boneheaded plays, and all of a sudden, Yankees fans are saying, hey, great year with a 30-30, but you got to play smarter baseball. Gleyber Torres played good baseball as well in the second half, and he's not on a roster either. So again, we assume Jazz will be back. We would assume Volpe will be back. If they play well, we'll see what happens. But appreciate the super. And Scott Ross, I got ahead of myself. Go ahead, Jake. Scott Ross with the 5 says Warren can't pitch out of the pen. Now, I want to bring something to you, Jake. I do. Scott doesn't believe he can pitch out of the bullpen. Reason being, he says he has no ability to deal with adversity. I'm hopeful they use what value he has to trade him. Now, today, Michael Kay brought up the point on the broadcast and said he's been dynamite with the first 2 batters of every inning. Strike out both of them. I mean, he had about 5 or 6 strikeouts going into the 3rd or 4th inning. You're like, well, what's the problem here? Every time he got into the stretch, he gave up hard contact. That was the prerequisite to his failure and his demise. There was really traffic on the base pass, and you're like, okay, he's in a little bit of a jam here. The exact jam that Jack Curry said that they're tired of Heel getting into, right? They're not so high on that fact about him. Well, when Will Warren gets traffic on there, unlike Heel, he doesn't get out of it. When guys are on the base pass, he gives up hard contact and it goes into the seats. And when you give up crooked numbers, the team more than likely loses those games. Thankfully, we won today. But when you bring a guy out of the bullpen, for the most part, you're putting the guy out there with traffic already on the base pass. Are you concerned with Warren when he's facing adversity? Do you think this is something that we should wait till 2026 to test, or do you not care so much about that?
I care a little bit about everything you just said in its own way. I don't think there is a full, this is the right way to handle him. He's too talented to not use him at all in the postseason, in my opinion. I think the adversity thing is fair and not fair at the same time, because I think he has dealt with adversity. He was awful when he came to the major leagues. And like I was saying earlier, he worked on a lot, and he did get to the point where now he's being relied on. Guys, he wasn't supposed to start this season. He wasn't. And he pushed his way, fought his way into this rotation. I mean, I think he has adversity. I think he has the ability to deal with that. But at the same time, game-to-game stuff, yeah, I think the long ball is an issue. Now, you had mentioned the stretch. I think it might just be one of those weird circumstances where he might just have to pitch out of the windup every time. And there have been pitchers that have done that. So,
interesting.
Yeah, it sucks. Obviously, it's it makes it easier for runners to steal. But it is just one of those things where I think you're fine giving up the base runner if he's going to be dominant when he's comfortable. That base runner.
So you want him
matter.
Pitching out of the stretch so he can just get acclimated to that right away. Now,
if that's obvious, if the numbers suggest this has been going on and this is actually his issue, yes, that's what I'm doing. I know it sounds crazy, but yeah.
We would have to obviously do a deeper dive to figure out. I mean, we can probably look at his numbers of what he does when guys are on base at all. First, second, third, runners on the corners, doesn't matter. It'll tell you the story. If he's bad with runners on base and he's good with nobody on, technically speaking, every pitcher, for the most part, their numbers are really good with nobody on base, no traffic. But obviously, Luis Heel is a different story. He walks a lot of guys, and he shuts it down when guys are on base. So, Scott, at least it brings a really good question to the table. We'll have to answer that long term. John Kirk with the 5 says 3 items. Yankees starting bench had 118 homers. Yeah, we had Jazz on the bench. We had Ben Rice on the bench. Who else did we sit today?
Grisham. He pinch hit.
Yeah, it's a lot of home runs. Warren gave up the home run on an 0-2 pitch. He hung. I don't really care about giving up contact, or you obviously don't want to give up home runs is the thing. I hate when people waste 0-2 pitches. I mean, we watched Cam Schlittler do it all day long in that Toronto series where
hated that.
0-2, 1-2, 2-2, foul ball, 3-2. No. It's Dave Roberts actually had something funny to say about this. He mentioned it 2 or 3 days ago. I think his closer blew the game. And he said, yeah, actually the reason you go 0-2 and end up to 3-2 is because you're either scared or you don't have good stuff. And I'm like, damn. Yeah. That's one way to put it. So, yeah, guys, the 0-2 thing, I appreciate him being aggressive, but hanging a pitch 0-2 is another story. And John says next game starts at 1. The Jays are at 3. Get up early, pressure
That's
on.
so obnoxious.
I
That's
will
so
say
obnoxious.
one thing about this, though. Here's one thing I want to ask. If the Yankees start at 1 o'clock and the Jays start at 3, if the Yankees go out and win a baseball game, how much pressure does Toronto feel now having to play game 2 knowing the Yankees have won? I think that could be a factor tomorrow. I do.
Maybe.
Because they're
but
scoreboard watching.
I mean, dude. Springer, like, that's all you need to know. They're in their heads, for sure. No doubt.
Right, so the game time could be a factor. It was a permanent bug on our screen. Here's what's going on with the Blue Jays in the race.
That's how it should be. It should be like
Right.
how the NFL has the bottom thing where it's like, oh yeah, these are the scores and everything. Sometimes they have them on the top. No, there's no reason why it can't be there. Like, I think it should have been posted there the whole time. This whole time that we were, in this kind of neck and neck. I don't know why it's just now getting that, but Jose, appreciate the 2. 32-14 since August 6th, 12-3 since September 11th. Yankees are on fire, number 28. We shall see.
Yep. The
I'll
Yankees
tell you
are
right now,
doing the business at the very end. And it's not what I would have wanted, but I'll take it.
they don't make it comfortable. That's for sure.
No, they do not. And Michael Vincent with the 5 says, if standings stay, and this is a good question, what are the predictions for the Sox and the Yanks? So we'd be at Yankee Stadium. It's the tough part because the Boston series, I feel the same way I do about the Detroit series. I feel we're the better team. But in a wild card scenario, you don't get a 5-game series. You don't get that 7-game series where the best team really is going to show itself. Because you have to see what that team's guys, their 3-starter. If they want to throw their ace for game 4, okay, short rest, right? There's a ton of factors, but when you only have to win 2 ball games to go to the next round, it's really tough to predict what's going to happen in these series. And I really think as great as Max Fried has been, and he can definitely go toe-to-toe with anybody, can throw up donuts with the best of them, Garrett Crochet has pitched very well against the Yankees. And is he Sandy Koufax? No. It's certainly possible that we get the best of him in that short series, but I would assume the Yankees would win the series in a, you're talking it's going to be 1-1. How does it work, by the way? Is it we just go back and forth? You play at Yankee Stadium, Boston, or is it all at Yankee Stadium? How does it work? I forgot.
I would imagine the first 2 are at Yankee Stadium, and then the third game would be. That would probably be how that, or maybe it is 1-1-1.
I feel like the only way it would make sense at all is if you just play the game and then travel back. Because how's that fair to have game 3 on the road if you're the home team?
All 3 are at Yankee Stadium if they have the wild
that sounds
card.
That sounds a lot better. So
That's
is
fair.
a factor.
That's how it should be.
It's how it should be. So you would have to assume the Yankees are going to give it their best shot. You'd have to imagine that Fried has a better opportunity to keeping the ball in the yard as a sinker baller. I don't know, man. I would assume the Yankees in game 3 move on. We just have more rotational depth, in my opinion, and the season's going to be on the line more than likely with Cam Schlittler on the mound. So whether that makes you guys comfortable or a little worrisome, we're going to see what happens. So let's try to win the division first so we don't have to see that.
They got to Crochet a little bit the last start.
They did. They touched him up a little bit, and
I kind of feel like they would win the game. And if they win, that's the thing, okay? If the Yankees win that first game, whether that's Crochet or Skubal, well, now you just took down the big boss. Now you just got to fight smaller bosses. Why would you struggle against the smaller bosses when you already took down the big boss?
I mean, you shouldn't, in theory. You just don't want to. You just don't want to have to play the games. I mean, you get the premise.
Yeah.
We don't want to have to go out there. It's a major test. Hey, don't lose 2 games, otherwise you're just going home. And Garrett Crochet's on the mound for game 1. Tarek Skubal's on the mound for game 1. We've seen all-time great pitchers just completely shut us down. Garrett Cole did it at Yankee Stadium. We saw Justin Verlander come to Yankee Stadium, and I think that was the game that Aaron Hicks.
Ugh.
I know. I think that was the game that Aaron Hicks hit that 3-run home run off the pole. It was off Verlander, I'm pretty sure.
I think so. I'll never
Yeah.
forget. I went to Buffalo Wild Wings with all my friends. So convinced we're going to beat Dallas Keuchel. Tanaka literally threw a gem and the Yankees couldn't hit. So, like, they lost 1-0. And I was just like, I want to die. This is ridiculous.
I actually golfed with Dallas Keuchel this past summer. And,
Oh, really?
yeah, last summer. Hell of a golfer, by the way. Hell of a golfer. Yeah.
Hell
Lives
yeah.
here in Arizona.
How about that?
Yeah.
I liked him. I always wanted him to be a Yankee. I don't know why they didn't bring him aboard. Well, probably he never would have shaved that beard, so.
Yeah, I have no idea what he looks like without it. So, I mean, we'll have to see. He's still got it.
Wow. Yeah. Tanaka was so good. I felt bad for him in that game because it's like, I mean, literally could not have been better. Gave up 1 run. That was all she wrote. All right. Let's move on to the voicemails. We got 4. Actually, we got a...
Troy says, so random, Gary. I'm like, you know what I feel like? It was so random. I feel like it was, did you ever see Hall Pass? That movie? The comedy with Owen Wilson?
Oh, yeah.
He's like, oh yeah, and Kurt Schilling's been in here. Have you seen? It's so funny.
Yeah.
How many voicemails we got, by the way?
Well, we got 4, but there's one bonus one we missed yesterday.
Fire baboon.
Oh my God. Jake did not tell me that. Be right. That's right. Jake did not tell me that was happening. So I appreciate the surprise. It made it much better. So thank you for that, Ninja.
Yep. Appreciate you, Ninja.
Hello, everyone. Great show tonight, Jake and Gary. Last night I said the same thing to you. You said thank you, but at that point it was kind of a joke because I haven't seen the show yet as I'm putting this out.
Oh, we know the show's going to be great, though. So
So I'll get right into it. Rogers actually has been the best pitcher in baseball the last month and a half. His ERA is at least a run better than Skubal, Skeens, and Crochet. The Yankees are going to show us that they are truly ready for the postseason. They're going to have to find a way to win this game because it's a must game, and it's also against the best. Rogers, last time pitched, we all know, 6 innings strong against us, no runs, 1 hit, and he throws strikes. We have to hope he's a little bit off tonight, and the Yankees find a good pitch to hit in each at bat. Last week I picked him to shut down the Yankees. It's a hard game to pick tonight because I do love the Yankees, and we all do. With Rogers throwing as good as he has the last 5 games, his ERA has only been 1.19. Warren's good at home. The game screams to go under tonight. I also favor, if I were betting the run line, which I hit 2 in a row, just saying, I would take Baltimore plus the 1.5 runs.
Oh, no.
But since I can't go against the Yankees, I also think the Yankees can get Rogers out in the 5th inning rather than the 6th. It was done a couple times this month with the Dodgers and Toronto. He was out in the 5th. I see more runs to follow in this game. Although the stats say under, I'm going to go out on a limb tonight and pick the over.
No way!
And the Yankees to win 5-4. All right, go Yankees.
Guy is different.
You had us in the first half, not going to lie.
Yeah, that is unbelievable. I have no idea how that happened. Now, we got Rogers out of the game for the 4th. And I hear people tell me all day long, Gary, wait till you see this bet I won. I'm like, great. Now tell me the other 40 you lost. Guy is onto something here. We might have a professional gambler, and he's lost some, but everyone does. Hell of a job right there.
Guy is on a roll.
Yeah, nice work.
This is impressive. No, this is impressive, and it's funny because we're rooting for you every time you drop these, and they're like, oh yeah, and then it started off like so. Kind of leaning towards the Orioles run line. I was like, no. And then all of a sudden, you're just like, yeah, we're going to go the over and the Yankees win. And like,
this game defeated logic, and Guy still comes out victorious.
It's true. Speaking of defeating logic and coming out victorious, Kyle Malay.
Hey, guys. Kyle Malay here. Let's see if I can get through this without my phone buzzing. Because my Discord
no chance.
And
there it is.
Nope. Not going to do that. My Discord, my MLB app, my Twitter, and everything is probably going to go off now. Oh, that's Caitlin. Sorry, that's my daughter. But good win by the Yankees. It keeps going off. But the good win by the Yankees. they need to just keep on winning. I'm telling you guys, it's coming down to Sunday. Sunday is going to be what determines it all. And I believe the Blue Jays are going to win against tomorrow, so are the Yankees. And it's going to come down to Sunday. And then the Blue Jays are going to lose. And the Yankees better win. But, yeah, let's all have a good night. And hopefully the Yankees can keep on winning and go win this American League East. Because I do not want to play Wild Card Series. I don't want them playing in that series. It's just a crapshoot, especially with they'll probably have to face Crochet, and I don't like that matchup. But yeah, let's all have a good night and keep winning, Yankees. Let's go.
Bye. Kyle is Buzz Lightyear. He's Buzz Aldridge. He's Buzz Malay. Thank you, Kyle. Awesome. Great voicemail.
Man. No, that was great. Yeah, I told you. I think it's going to go down to the wire as well. I'm not getting the feeling they're going to win tomorrow. Tampa. So, yeah. I think the Yankees do end up winning the division, and I think it comes tomorrow. Not tomorrow, Sunday. Yeah, I don't know why. I do not feel like Tampa's going to win tomorrow, but who knows? I've been wrong plenty of times before.
Go Rays.
Yes. Big Rays fan over here. New, but big Rays fan for the time.
Yeah, and is this a short voicemail?
And this thing is the shortest voicemail in the history of voicemails.
Who is this?
It is Mark.
G-Unit. That's it. That's my voicemail. Congrats to Stanton. Great game.
Best voicemail we've had so far. These don't delete, do they?
No.
Okay, great. That was fantastic. And did we give credit to who did that?
Yeah, it was Mark.
Mark, that is absolutely unbelievable. My favorite so far. And that takes bravery because you really could only have one shot at it. You could just totally flub it. The G-Unit. Yeah, I would completely flub it. You told me I was on the Michael K show and I had to do the G-Unit jingle. I'd screw it up immediately. I get nervous. I get nervous talking to my doctor on the phone. I don't even know why. They're like, what's your date of birth? I'm like, I can't even give them the date. I have to almost ask my wife for it.
Oh my God.
Well done there. I also had the G-Unit shoes. I don't know, Jake, if maybe you ever heard of those, but
no,
I had a fresh pair of G-Unit tennis shoes. They were sweet.
That's funny. Yeah, I mean, I did it yesterday. Put myself out there and I sang some Ramones.
Yeah, no, credit to you. I wouldn't do that. I'm actually surprised. You know, my voice squeaked once this year. I'm not sure if people noticed it. It completely squeaked on me. My voice normally squeaks in real life, but somehow, some way I've avoided it while podcasting. So thank God for that.
Oh, which Ramones song? Beat on the Brat.
Oh my God.
Come on. It's so good.
Yeah, great.
All right. Hey, it worked. So if you type beat on the Brat, well, they beat on the Brat. Let's keep doing it. We'll figure out a thing to put in the comment section. Let's end it off the right way with Ed W., one of the OG supporters of Yankees.
Is this the final voicemail?
Yes, it is.
Let it fly, Ed.
Yo, Ed W here. Just wanted to vent a little bit about today's game because Paul O'Neill said at the end of the broadcast that there were no weaknesses. That's true about the players, at least as I saw today. Well, maybe not. Will Warren, I think, forgot that the Yankees are actually making a run at the division, but we survived that. But there was a weakness today, and that weakness, I believe, was Aaron Boone. I don't really understand the decision to leave Warren in. I don't really understand the decision to take Tim Hill out of the game with two lefties up next to pitch Cruz. Although that worked out. I definitely think that Aaron Boone is in denial about his baseball team all year. Opportunities to run squeeze plays, but I thought he recognized that his team doesn't understand like actual strategic baseball and situational baseballs. Because obviously Volpe doesn't understand how to run a squeeze play. But there, in that moment, with the division on the line, that's when he calls it. I don't understand that. And I really don't agree with the decision to bring Bednar in that situation. I don't know what you guys think about that. Maybe it'll come up during the show before my voicemail gets played, but I thought Aaron Boone was a definite weakness tonight. And one last point. If George Springer wants some umpire porn tonight to convince him that the umpires screw it up both ways, I think he should get a bottle of lube out or a jar of Vaseline, pick up the iPad, and watch the strike zone they gave Hoffman in that ninth inning.
Totally agree.
Those guys were calling balls 4 feet off the plate.
Ridiculous.
So anyway, guys, going to the game tomorrow with the kids. Can't wait to hear the show tonight because you guys always do a great job. Thank you.
Thank you for that voicemail. Really, really appreciate that.
Yeah.
Ed, so let's tee it off here with the decisions out the bullpen, because I completely agree with you. I thought it was just an anemic performance from that standpoint. Now, there were a lot of people complaining about the lineup. Where's Jazz? Where's Ben Rice? I thought the lineup was great. I didn't have a problem with what they did with the lineup. I don't want to revise it. Oh, if we didn't hit the home runs, now it's because Jazz wasn't there. No, I was fine with that. But Jake, yeah, Vaseline for the win. Hey, hopefully we get maybe a Vaseline sponsorship. Who knows?
Yeah, right.
But the decision to keep Warren in the game, okay, I didn't like that, but I at least tracked what they were going for. They wanted to try and squeeze out a few extra outs. They're trying to get the value there. But they go to Leiter Jr., which I didn't love. Now, here's where I really had the problem. Hill was awesome. He was great. And to Ed's point, there were 2 lefties remaining. That's his whole job, is to go out there and execute against lefties. He brings in Cruz, who, let me remind you guys, at that point of the game, we were nursing a large lead. Why would you bring in a pitcher that struggles with command, that can very easily give up a crooked number and ruin the entire game? Here's what Cruz has done over his last 30 games. His last 30 games, 26 2/3 of an inning, he's walked 16 batters. Now, we know that's what he does. He has a very high whip, but a guy with a high whip is most susceptible to a large inning. It made no sense to go to Cruz in that situation rather than Hill, who very clearly made easy work of his outing. Yeah, I'm with Ed.
No, I think that's definitely fair. I don't really know what to make of Cruz right now. I mean, is this another one of those they've squeezed everything they can out of this orange? Like, you know what I mean? Like, I don't know, right? I mean, he does have issues. He always has had issues with location. But Cruz, since the injury, just hasn't looked the best. He just hasn't. And that ERA is now at 3.64, and you go back, you look at what Cruz has done, and obviously he's had moments this year where he's been great. I mean, you look at the 0 ERA in 2 of the months, right? But he's got a 7.71 ERA in the month of September.
He's also only given up 1 run his last 5 1/3 innings, so he's finding ways to not surrender runs, but he's really pitching more of like how Luis Gil would throw, right? And
yeah.
The Yankees have claimed that, we're worried. Now, this is what Jack Curry said, is the Yankees aren't very high on all those walks, right? And the ERA doesn't tell the full story. Well, does Fernando Cruz's ERA tell the entire story? Because he'll walk it with the best of them. He's also walking hitters in high leverage spots where walks are far more important and detrimental to the team. So I would argue Luis Gil's control issues far less of a problem than even Cruz says. So that's my huge worry with him. I actually, if the postseason started tomorrow, I don't have Cruz on the mound in high leverage. I am worried. I even probably throw Weaver ahead of him because at the very least, I know I'm getting strikes. Am I worried about Weaver as well? Yeah, I am. But prerequisite to pitching in October and having success is you need to be able to throw strike 1, and he's not really doing that right now.
No, it's true. So that's I think that's gonna do it. What do they put in the comment section?
I don't know. Can you believe we went an hour and 48? I couldn't.
I know. We were sitting
hell
here
of an
like,
audience.
I don't even know how the hell we're gonna do this, right?
If it was just me and you, we probably had 11 minutes of content, but obviously we have the best audience in YouTube. It's just not even close. So thank you guys for being here. And of course, if you're still with us, please be sure we have over 450 people in here, an hour and a half in, almost 2 hours in. Make sure to support the channel. You guys like the video. Obviously, if you haven't subscribed, we would love to have you back. What can we put in the comment section? Man, I want to give Giancarlo some love for what he did today.
I see G Unit. Let's just do that.
drop G Unit in the comment section. Obviously, if you want to throw it in the live chat, we would love that as well. But after these two jabronis are off your set, reload into the video and drop G Unit. It really helps the algorithm get more comments in there. So thank you guys for being here. Jake, anything else to add?
Nope.
Drop G Unit, like the video.